The difference is in the tavern, it's predominantly a Jewish tavern keeper who's keeping his wits about him because he's got a business to run. And for the peasantry and to some extent the nobility, this is their leisure space. This is their leisure activity. So the myths start to arise of the drunken Gentile and the sober Jew. And the myth actually comes from both sides, from both societies. The difference being that when non-Jews would propagate an image of the sober Jewish tavern keeper, they didn't mean it as a compliment. They meant it as an accusation that here was this Jew remaining suspiciously sober so that he could further exploit the hapless peasant, drive him into debt, and take advantage. Jews had their own counter myth of the drunken and profligate Goy or Gentile. That could be a peasant, but it could also be a nobleman who simply lacked self-control, and the image has all kinds of bestial properties to it. An attempt by an embattled minority to try to feel like they're a little bit culturally superior. And that's what I argue in my book. I go through a lot of these myths. They're on both sides very harsh. They're not sympathetic. And yet we have to remember also, it's not pure xenophobia that's driving these myths. There's also a reason for them because, Jews and Gentiles, especially in these taverns, are in very close quarters, and you need to propagate a negative image of the other in order to maintain boundaries. Otherwise, you have a lot of people, the wrong people falling in love, converting to each other's religions, and religious leaders on both sides did not want that to happen. So I think a lot of these negative myths really were ways of regulating differences and divisions, boundaries between these two cultures who were living in such close proximity. And by the way, transgressions did occur.
Yeah.
People did fall in love, people did convert, and it didn't always work.